Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by T. T, how are you tonight?
Doing all right.
We are on the road to WrestleMania. Man, it is fast approaching. We are less than 9 nights away from night one of WrestleMania, where they've been announced. I know they've been announcing like which matches are which night, and I kind of dig that. And it would be even more awesome if I could remember which matches were which night. I mean, obviously, the main event of night two is Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. The main event of night one is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. And the I would imagine the opening match of night one is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Assuming everybody's healthy, which I know with the women's matches, I don't know if these are storyline injuries or stuff's been going on for real, but man, it seems like we're gonna have a heck of a time getting there.
And all these injuries are popping up.
Yeah, I mean,
Some are real, some are fake. Shit is scary.
I know it's having me concerned going into WrestleMania. Like, so I mean, with the at least with the women's matches, I feel like we can just do a couple little interview segments. Maybe like on SmackDown, you could do Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, like separate, but like each just mouthing off to each other. Like, I don't think we need to have them have any more physical altercations. I don't want any injuries. I want the two of them to be able to go at WrestleMania and not have to worry. And I kind of feel like they could do the same thing with Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. We just gotta know that we're gonna get all four women to WrestleMania.
Well, from what I've read, that injury angle on Bianca Belair, that was all scripted. She's fine.
Okay.
And I think Becky Lynch is fine from 2 weeks ago, where she posted that picture of herself in the hospital.
Yeah.
Obviously Charlotte's fine. As for Ronda Rousey, she's mostly fine, but I heard she had that area between your lip and gum, somewhere down there.
Mm-hmm.
I heard she had like injured that or something.
Don't know how you injure that part of your mouth, but okay. Oh.
But hopefully she'll be able to go.
Yeah, Ronda's a gamer. I think she'll be fine. But yeah, so I guess well, if we're going to talk injury news, we might as well talk the worst of it. Of course, Big E suffering his broken neck.
Yeah.
And now, supposedly, he got some good news. I don't quite understand all the information, all the lingo, but doesn't need surgery. Still no timetable, and like not even like a guesstimation on number of months. At least not from what I've heard, unless you heard something different.
I don't know how long he's gonna be out. I would assume a little while. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's Mania, but he got off lucky.
yeah, he was very fortunate. We're really happy that the Big E's gonna be okay. He's gonna get a big pop when he comes back. I'm hoping they slip it in as like a surprise at some point, whenever that time is. Because I would love to not even be thinking about it. Like, I love those surprise returns like that. When someone you start to think it's like, man, like shouldn't they be coming back soon? And you kind of put it out of your mind, and then all of a sudden you hear the music hit, and you just go nuts.
Yeah, that's Royal Rumble's the perfect pay per view for that, but that's gonna
Right.
be like 9, 10 months away.
I mean, I hope it's not that long an injury, but if it is, that would be the perfect time for him to come back.
True.
And like honestly, at this point, I'm just happy that we're talking about when he comes back and not if.
That is true. He is very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I heard that kind of drop, he could have died or been paralyzed. Or
Yeah.
luckily, he's still able to move his fingers and speak and everything.
You asked Darren Drozdoff about that.
Yeah. Luckily, that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah, as Jim Ross liked to say, it ain't ballet. Although you can get seriously injured doing ballet too.
Yeah, that stuff's hardcore too.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's get back into WrestleMania. Let's talk a little bit about the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I feel like I'm excited enough for it. And I feel like when they do something that the crowd gets excited for it, I don't feel like it's being talked about in the way that you would normally talk about a WrestleMania main event. This past week with the Roman Reigns, basically running from Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar rips off a door, although, man, that door came off awfully easy. I like this side of Brock Lesnar. And here's something else I heard. And maybe it's just they're trying to play up him being a babyface. Maybe he was doing this the whole time, and they were like, everything I always heard was just stuff to make me hate him when I was supposed to hate him. But Brock apparently, like, ever since his return, has been backstage every show that he's done. He's been backstage the entire show, watched every match, and has approached a lot of the superstars and giving them critiques and try to give them ways to help their game. Like, all of a sudden, we have locker room leader Brock Lesnar.
Next thing you know, he's gonna wrestle on free TV.
Let's not get crazy now. But yeah, I feel like this is definitely the spot Roman has to beat Brock at WrestleMania. He's never done it. This is their third time, and I find it curious that they're not talking about that at all either. Kind of like The Rock and Stone Cold. I feel like this is that level of rivalry. Now they're main evented 3 WrestleManias, and so does Roman get off the schneid here? Does he get the first WrestleMania victory over Brock Lesnar?
I don't know. I don't know which way I want this to go. I mean, either outcome's fine.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's a cool thing. Like, I don't have to worry about oh my God, he really has to win, or Brock Lesnar really has to win. Like, I kind of feel like I'm okay with it, with whichever way they go. I'm just gonna be ready to sit back and watch a hell of a fight.
What happens if it's a draw, though? Do they just keep their respective titles?
Yeah, but that man, ooh. You can't build up for months this title versus title, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's a draw. Everybody keeps their belts, go home. Nothing to see here. I was actually kind of disappointed they didn't decide to unify the tag titles at WrestleMania along with the women's championships. I really thought that we were going to get to see the WrestleMania 35 rematch, Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. Because I figured either Rousey was going to come out and say, you know what, I won the Royal Rumble, I'm challenging both of you. Or I thought maybe they'd have Ronda Rousey, especially when they had that last spot in the Elimination Chamber open all the way up to the week of. I'm like, oh my God, it would be perfect. Ronda Rousey takes that last spot, and then she gets to challenge Becky Lynch. She gets to challenge Charlotte Flair, and it turns into a triple threat, winner take all, just like 35.
That would be a much better closer for night one.
Exactly. Yeah, close out. Yeah, close out night one with the women's triple threat. Close out night two in the main event of WrestleMania, title versus title, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. And you could have RK Bro versus the Usos to unify the tag team titles. Um, yeah, that'd have been perfect. But what do I know? All right, let's. I feel like the main thing happening on Raw these days, since everything's about the WWE and Universal title match, and they've been building that mostly on SmackDown. Raw has been about the meltdown of Seth Rollins and him trying to get on WrestleMania. Personally, I don't know why he didn't just like. I mean, I understand why, because this is a script. This is all about like making it seem like he's so desperate to get to WrestleMania. We all know he's going to WrestleMania. He's gonna have a match. Sounds like Cody Rhodes is the opponent. Cody apparently signed a WWE contract, and it's back in the fold. Yet we haven't seen him, and we're a week away.
Keep everyone guessing.
Yeah.
And keep everyone worrying. Who's he gonna face? Who's he gonna face? Is this Cody thing real? Who knows?
And I like that. I like that they're kind of keeping us in suspense. You know, it'd be kind of intriguing. What if this Monday on Raw, Seth Rollins is pleading, trying to find a way to get himself on WrestleMania? And Adam Pearce says, "Look, man, you want to go to WrestleMania so bad, buy a ticket, man." And like, and he basically does the John Cena thing. He shows up and he's at WrestleMania. He's in the crowd. And then all of a sudden, like at some stoppage or something, some break in the action, maybe during the Hall of Fame honoring or something, right after the Hall of Fame honoring, whether they do that night one or night two, you have Cody come out, and that's when you have the unveiling that Cody Rhodes is signed back with WWE, and he drags Seth Rollins into the ring, and they have a match right there.
Sure, that sounds good.
Or maybe you do the whole like Seth Rollins comes in like he's not at WrestleMania, he's not in the card, or he's not on the card, he's not in attendance, and then all of a sudden he just comes out of nowhere and is demanding a WrestleMania moment. You're about to get security, and out comes Cody Rhodes, and they have a match then.
I got a similar idea.
Okay.
Out will come Adam Pearce and or Sonya Deville and or Vince McMahon. I don't know, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
They'll announce their newest signing, which would be Cody Rhodes. And he'll talk to the fans, whatever, I'm back, yada yada. Then out comes Seth Rollins and they brawl. Actually, don't even have a match, just have a big brawl.
Okay.
We'll build the match for WrestleMania Backlash.
Woohoo! Love me some WrestleMania Backlash. I'd be okay with that, because I really think Cody Rhodes deserves some build up to coming back. And if you have him come back this Monday, and then you find out Seth and Cody are going to have a match at WrestleMania, there was no room for a build. There was no and I wonder how many times during the match they'll make reference, and maybe that can be one of the WrestleMania drinking games, to take a drink every time they reference the fact that Seth Rollins wasn't even supposed to be on the card. Which to me, it's just criminal. The guy, he is this generation's Shawn Michaels. He is that good. He never, I haven't seen the guy really have a bad match.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, the whole the Hell in a Cell against the Fiend, people freaked out, but that was just because of the way they did the ending. To me, that wasn't anything Seth Rollins did. That wasn't him having a bad match. That was just him following instruction, and he was given poor instruction.
You know, I was going through life pretending that match never happened. Now you brought it back up.
Don't worry, that won't be the homework assignment this week. Because I think what I want to do for this week's homework assignments, obviously everybody very sad about the passing of Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. And so I was thinking he would be superstar of the week this week. And obviously there is one match that regardless of what we assign each other, and it could be Scott Hall or Razor Ramon, but regardless of what match we assign each other, we are both assigned to watch WrestleMania 10 ladder match, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. So that is an assignment we will both have for next week. And so, yeah, Scott Hall or Razor Ramon, whatever character you want. I guess I'll assign first a match that, gosh, you were probably like 3 or 4 years old when this match happened. But Razor Ramon versus Diesel, SummerSlam 94.
All right.
Really good match. Walter Payton was in Razor Ramon's corner, who's also dead. I don't expect you to know who that is.
I do not.
You're not a football fan. And we will also assign each other. Oh, well, no, we already assigned each other a WrestleMania match. We're watching Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. But yeah, Scott Hall or Razor Ramon. You get to decide what match I watch now.
Not a particularly action-packed match, but a match where someone's career got put on the map. Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 Kid.
Okay.
That was
the original one where 1-2-3 Kid won, or the where he won?
The original.
Okay. Yeah, not the one where he took the money and ran. Which, to me, that was one of it was such a heel that was the move that made me think. When the $1 Million Man started his $1 Million Corporation, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, his whole thing is everybody's got a price. At some point, he's going to buy the services of the 1-2-3 Kid, because you've already seen it took money to entice him to get back in the ring with Razor Ramon, and then he stole the money and ran. Clearly he's the classic, Sean Waltman, the 1-2-3 Kid it was clear proof everybody has, or that he at least had a price for the $1 Million Man. But good choice. I'm looking forward to watching that match. I haven't watched that in a long time. That was, Monday Night Raw was not even it wasn't more than 6 months old. Wow. Looking forward to that one. Okay. So let's talk a little. What do you think about the Edge morphing his character? I really dig in this heel, very dark version of Edge.
I'm with it, but is he gonna be around after Mania?
Well, last year he took time off. The year before he took time off.
So, if you introduce a new character tweak like that, we want to see him interact with other characters too,
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering where they go from here with Edge. Because we talked about it on our last show that, how many more gunfights does this old gunslinger have left in him?
I mean, if we could squeeze in maybe an Edge Drew McIntyre match.
I would be down for that. Maybe Edge Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah. 2 Canadians.
Yeah, 2 Canadian heroes. We should have them wrestle in Texas. I'm sure Kevin Owens will love that. I want to talk a little about what to expect on the Kevin Owens show. When Stone Cold got, like, do you think they're going to even try to have like an interview segment? Or is it he's going to come out, Kevin Owens is going to try to ask him something, and Stone Cold's just going to open up a can of whoop ass?
From what I've been reading, Stone Cold's been working out, so he's going to do some kind of bump.
Nice. I am really looking forward to that.
Whether or not it's a match or just the beatdown, I don't know. We shall.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's just going to be a fight on the KO show, or if they're going to, like, if I think the show's night 1. I wonder if the plan is have them have an interaction night 1, and then night 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens in a match.
That would make sense.
That would make a lot of sense. I would absolutely love it.
And from what I've read also, even though Charlotte and Rousey are supposed to main event Mania, I heard KO show is supposed to be the last segment of the night. Don't know.
Which could mean they set up night 2 match, or it could just be that's how we go off the air night 1 is Stone Cold Steve Austin whooping Kevin Owens and having a beer bash all over him.
We'll see if that's true or not.
Would absolutely love it. It's been, gosh, almost 20 years since we've seen Stone Cold in the ring. 19, as a matter of fact. And, I mean, would love to see. I remember it was, gosh, almost 10 years ago when he was hosting Tough Enough. And he basically teased then the idea that he thought he might be able to come back and do one more run. And like they kind of teased that maybe they were going to, like, The Miz showed up. I think it was the night after WrestleMania that year when he was still champion. And they had like a little run in. It looked like maybe Stone Cold and The Miz were going to have a match then. And they didn't do it. Man, I'd really be into it if they let Stone Cold have an actual match at WrestleMania.
I mean, things are looking good. They might.
Yeah, you know what? I never thought I'd see Edge in the ring again, and I did. So now if I got another, even if it's just one match for Stone Cold, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, I don't think Stone Cold's gonna have the same story as Edge, but but yeah, if we can get one more match out of him, that would be great.
Yeah, I agree. I think Stone Cold was one of those guys who, well, I think at first, I'm sure just like any of them, if they're forced out because of injury, like I think they go home and like, you know, obviously Steve Austin drank some beer and, you know, just kind of felt sorry for himself. But I also think there came a point where he had peace with it. He had done all he wanted to do in wrestling. I mean, he was on top of the wrestling world. He was the number one guy in wrestling. Like, I mean, nobody netted more money than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's why he's got a permanent spot on wrestling's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean,
one you cannot argue at all.
How's your Mount Rushmore go? Mine is Flair, Hogan, Stone Cold, Undertaker.
Well, Undertaker and Stone Cold, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, they can be swapped out.
Really?
Man, no disrespect to Flair, and who else was it?
Hulk Hogan.
No disrespect to Flair and Hogan, but I don't know.
Who you think? Who else you thinking?
Well, I'm not advocating any fandom or anything,
Okay.
but John Cena made a lot of money too for the company.
No, you're right. You're right. He would be on that. He'd be on that next on list for me.
Did the mid 2000s into the early
Sure. Got
2010s.
through some really mucky waters too, where WWE wasn't doing very well, and he stepped up. They needed. They lost a lot of stars. Like, think about it. In one foul swoop, you go from the Attitude Era, where you're on top of the world, and just get to no Stone Cold Steve Austin. Rock goes to Hollywood, so there's no Rock. Hogan's too old to go anymore. Like, who's your star now? And I mean, Shawn Michaels hadn't come back fully yet. Like he had won what, two, three matches in 2002, and that was his comeback year. And you didn't know if you were going to really get, like, I mean, Shawn looked good in SummerSlam, and then he looked good inside the Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series. It wasn't until Armageddon where I really felt like, okay, the showstopper's back. Like, the guy who lit the wrestling world on fire was back. So really, they didn't have much in the way of star power at that point, and I feel like WWE's kind of going through that now, where they've kind of lost a lot of star power, and that's where they've needed Roman Reigns to step up and really become the head of the table, so to speak, pun intended. Because Brock Lesnar's a part timer. Just like in 2002, you would say Shawn Michaels was a part timer. And so then you get Brock Lesnar come on the scene. This is in 2003 or 2002. And then John Cena has to come on the scene. And because Brock Lesnar, it was basically, what, a year later, or 2 years later, he was gone. So John Cena had to carry that banner. And it was a huge challenge. So I would agree with you. John Cena has definitely earned a spot, whether he's on the actual Mount Rushmore or on the next on list. Yeah, John Cena's right there. Absolutely.
It's just one of those lists where you need more than four.
I know. I feel like can we do, like, 4 Mount Rushmores? Can we do?
Or Mount Rushmores of each decade.
Yeah, that actually would be a great thing. The Mount Rushmore of the '80s, I would have to say Flair, Hogan, Andre, and Piper, maybe.
That's before my time. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you know enough about wrestling from that era. Like, do you ever go back and watch any of the old shows from back then?
Not really.
You really should. Okay, so we've talked about, my gosh, I think we talked about just about everything. Your thoughts on, say, the Miz and Logan Paul against the Mysterios? Does the story intrigue you? Like, they're really trying to make it something good. I'm just not that interested.
Not really. I mean,
Yeah, is it in cases there's just too much already on the card, so it's like it's hard to really hold your attention that long?
not even that. I'm just not really into the rivalry, really. I mean,
Yeah,
sure.
it feels forced.
Like, if they're just doing this to say, hey, Logan Paul's going to be DLC in 2K22 also, you can recreate this match. But I'm sorry to get slightly off topic, but
Yeah, that's all right.
so they have Logan Paul, Mr. T, and Machine Gun Kelly as DLC characters.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Mr. T, I understand. He was in the first WrestleMania.
Sure.
Logan Paul, sure, he's a big name. And Machine Gun Kelly. I mean, I guess we could recreate that segment with Kevin Owens. That'll be fun. But
Yeah, right.
one celebrity they left out is Bad Bunny.
I'm
Like,
very surprised by that.
if anyone should be a DLC character,
Yeah.
or character, period, Bad Bunny. He's
Yeah, that's a notable snub there. Yeah, I think Bad Bunny definitely should have been. I mean, he had the performance of maybe the best performance of WrestleMania last year, or at least the most unexpected. Like, I really thought they were going to have Damian Priest kind of carry him through that, but he didn't. I mean, Bad Bunny was in that, and he did a darn good job.
whipped out that destroyer. Woo.
Right? And kudos to Miz and Morrison for trusting Bad Bunny the way they did. And like, yeah, I want to do a destroyer in the match. Yeah, that's where I pull out a line my dad always used to say to me, "Hey Eric, want in one hand and crap in the other. See which one gets filled first." Yeah, like there's no way. He comes to me, Bad Bunny comes to me and says, "Yo, Eric, I want to do a destroyer during our match." Get the hell out of here, dude. Like, do it. Do a couple of headlocks, throw some punches, some working punches, and I don't know, man. Take a backdrop. Like maybe if you really want to get adventurous, come off the top rope with a leg drop or something. Like let's not get too crazy here. But kudos to them, man. They really delivered on that match. And I'd say that's a credit to Miz, Morrison, and Damian Priest for doing as good as they did. Like, they really made Bad Bunny look good, but some of the Bad Bunny made himself look good.
Yeah. And then to come back at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I was really excited to see it. I was actually hoping he was going to have a match at WrestleMania. I would have been more interested in Bad Bunny having a match at WrestleMania than I am Johnny Knoxville.
Oh, yeah. Forgot all about that match, too.
Right? I'm just not interested.
Well, at least it's not for the Intercontinental title.
I'm very happy about that.
And it's a anything goes match.
Yeah. I mean, that's terrific, but like, that's probably going to be match. I'll have it on. I'll probably, that'll be when I go to fix one of my drinks. Because I'm sure I'll be on like my 14th rum and coke by then.
Look, unless they're going to have a run in by Steve-O, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Yeah, not very interested. How would you grade WrestleMania this year, the card, as we look at it less than 9 days away?
Well, there's some bangers, and then there's some not bangers.
So, okay, letter grade.
Well, nothing's below a C as far as it looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, we're grading it right now based on, one, the road they've taken, and the card as you project it going out.
I say that would average out to maybe a B minus, B, like an 84 out of 100.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I'm going B minus.
It'll be better.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's been plenty of years that I have gone in with higher expectation or with lower expectations, excuse me. But and of course, a lot of years I've gone in with higher expectations. like like the terrible 20s of WrestleMania. There were plenty of them that I had great expectations for that really underdelivered. 24. Like putting the WWE title match between Randy Orton, Triple H, and John Cena in the middle of the card completely confused the hell out of me. And the match overall wasn't great. And then Randy Orton retains. Like, I didn't like that at all. I think they should have just let Triple H win it that night, since they had him win it 4 weeks later, the Fatal 4-Way. But anyway, yeah. I would agree. I think this is a WrestleMania. It has a chance. I think it has an opportunity to become an A-plus WrestleMania. If Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar deliver the way they should deliver in the main event, then I think this becomes an A-plus pay-per-view, an A-plus WrestleMania. I feel like we're going to get what we should get from Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, which it'll be a good match. Ronda Rousey, like, a lot of people, I think, didn't like the idea of, one, her getting moved up to the women's title as soon as she did when she was first with the company. But I don't think people realized that it was just going to be a 1-year thing then. But but like she took the industry serious. Like, she really delivered, like, from night one. Her WrestleMania 34 match, teaming with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie. Like, she delivered. And every time, like, I don't think she's ever had really a bad match.
No, not at all.
And so I like.
That's really saying something. She had a match with Nikki Bella.
Right. And I thought that match exceeded my expectations. Like, when they said Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, I thought, man, that's really testing Ronda Rousey, because this is not a match against an established, well-groomed professional wrestler. This is a match against a diva. And I feel bad saying that, because I know how much the Bellas helped and worked towards ending that diva era.
But at the same time, kind of embracing it.
Yeah, they definitely portrayed it. Yeah. It was like, hey, we don't like it. We want to be called women superstars. We don't want to be called divas. But look at us act like divas. Yeah. So I think that match is going to give us what we expect. Edge, AJ Styles, I think those two could just roll out of bed and deliver a 5-star classic.
Well, that's probably going to steal the show whatever night it's on.
Right. Yeah, I really don't see, like, I mean, the two matches, the Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, and the Logan Paul Miz versus the Mysterios, they appear to be my built-in bathroom break matches. The bathroom and refreshment matches. Everything else, I feel like I'm going to just be running to get my drink and hurrying back up. And since, God forbid, we have the pause function on Peacock.
Well, don't forget, there's that now crowded Fatal 4-Way tag team title, women's tag team title match.
Right.
Which I don't think will be bad, but I don't think it's...
I think it'll be very busy, though.
Yeah. It'll probably be rushed, too.
Yeah. We'll pick the whole card next week, but just right now,
probably have like 4 more matches anyway.
Oh, I know. Any pick as far as that women's tag title match? Because we're probably not going to get to that next week, because we'll be talking all about the main events and the top spots.
I want Shayna Baszler to hold some gold. So
okay.
I guess them. I'm not against Naomi and Sasha either. Who else was in there?
My pick, the team that I want to see win it, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, because just like you said, you want to see Shayna Baszler wear some gold. I think it's high time Liv Morgan wore some gold.
True.
And plus, Rhea Ripley then would be multi-time women's tag team champion with multiple partners.
Ooh, multiple partners.
Bow chickie bow bow.
Well, let's just say as long as the champs don't retain.
Yeah, I'm over the whole Carmella and Queen Selena. And do you think it's going to lead to a feud between the two of them?
I mean, I guess they kind of teased it on Monday.
They did kind of tease it.
But, maybe, hopefully. Again, as long as they don't retain.
Yeah. And then everybody go nuts, I guess, over the wedding of Carmella and Corey Graves. And I'm sure that'll be on their YouTube show.
Ooh, they could do an angle where Zelina Vega crashes it. And then they can set up a match. Boom.
Yay. That's some good booking right there. That is some grade A booking there.
Use your real wedding for a storyline. Sure, it's been done before.
Fun fact, did you know that when Triple H and Stephanie were really getting married in real life, they had to convince the priest that they were not already married because he'd seen the whole storyline? Like, I thought that was hilarious.
That confused me as a kid.
Right?
Seeing Triple H have knocked out Stephanie go through the drive-through.
Oh, drive-through wedding.
And like a couple of years later, they're like happily married. And like, did you just?
Yeah. And like the whole thing with, I don't know if you watched the documentary about China, which, man, what a crazy tragedy that all was. Yeah, the whole, like, when they talked about the Triple H relationship, and then China finding out that that Triple H and Stephanie were having an affair, and then it's like, basically she's squeezed out, and it's a terrible tragedy. And then of course the whole end of her life. Basically, it's funny. So the documentary kind of covers her attempt to come back to WWE to reconcile her image. Like, she comes back to LA, she comes back to Connecticut. She goes to WWE headquarters and is basically blown off and told to leave.
That's messed up.
Yeah. And then she has a falling out with the producer, but the producer's the one who ends up finding her because he comes up, like, he hadn't heard from her in a couple days, shows up, and then she was dead. Yeah. Terrible tragedy. Yeah. I'm not going to end the show on that note. I can't wait. So, okay. We're, like I said, we're 9 days out from WrestleMania. Right now, based on the card we have now, is there a show stealer? I mean, I guess we all predict Edge and AJ to have the best match of the two nights. But any other match that you look at and say, hey, wait, that could be pretty good?
What's on the card? I gotta remember what's on the card.
Oh, I know. Because, I mean, gosh, I feel like that both nights are going to end up having, about 6 matches each night?
Probably.
Yeah, it'll probably both nights. Like, how do you feel about Stand to Deliver being on right before WrestleMania? Like it's basically going to end, and then we're going to go right into the pre-show for WrestleMania.
I might as well just glue myself to my chair.
You know, I can think of some worse ways to spend a Saturday and Sunday.
I mean, sounds like I'm gonna be going from 12 to 12 on Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday's going to be a marathon day.
Well, hopefully there'll be no pre-show matches so I can take a break. Jeez.
Yeah, and I think the crowd's going. Are they doing Takeover at AT&T Stadium? I feel like they'd have to, right?
I don't know.
Because you couldn't have. Because if you didn't, how are you going to have tickets for Takeover and WrestleMania Night 1? Like you're going to have like 45 minutes to get from one area of Dallas to the other. Now I have no idea like what the stadium layout is like in Dallas, but like if they're going to be able to get from the hockey arena to AT&T Stadium, like because look, okay, so the event starts at what, noon their time? So 1 o'clock here is when Stand and Deliver starts.
Oh, it's that one?
I think so.
Nah.
I mean, unless they do like a 2.5 hour takeover, I would think they're probably doing a 3 hour takeover, which takes them to 4 o'clock. I know the pre-show starts at 5. Man, you're talking about trying to get all those fans outside of that arena, and the ones that have WrestleMania Night 1 tickets got to get from Takeover all the way to WrestleMania Night 1. You're going to have a late arriving crowd at Night 1. Because you know those fans are nuts. They're like, you go down for that show, like you're probably getting tickets to everything.
I
wanted to get tickets for everything, but I did when I went to WrestleMania 35. I did not get tickets to the takeover. I felt like it was more important to get FanFest tickets and get to experience all of that, which is really cool. And so we went up on Saturday, went to FanFest Saturday, and went to WrestleMania Sunday, and left on Monday. And boy, I'll tell you, the day after waking up, I felt like I'd been drinking all day, and I didn't have one drop of alcohol at WrestleMania. Now, that will not be the case this year. Right. I guess I'll give you my under the radar match. I'll tell you, I think the Usos versus Nakamura and Rick Boogs. I think that could be a good match.
Yeah,
the SmackDown tag titles.
I forgot that was on the card.
Well, again, I feel like they throw these things together, and even they threw that match kind of together 2 weeks ago, and haven't done a whole lot more with it because you've kind of needed the Usos to help push up the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar rivalry. So that's been the main objective of the Usos. I almost would have rather them not have a match at WrestleMania and just be a part of that. I'd imagine that match is going to be night 1, and so they are not at all involved in anything else on night 2, but I haven't heard that announced. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to break down the whole card next week again. We'll give our official predictions, and we should have a clearer vision of what it's all going to look like, I think. You would think they'll have to have announced what's going on, whether Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes are going to have a match at WrestleMania. If not, I mean, gosh, I don't know how you leave one of the best performers in the company. He's healthy, able to work. How you leave him off the card? If they don't have Seth Rollins do anything at WrestleMania, that will be a travesty.
Yeah. Speaking of adding matches,
Mm-hmm.
I saw one rumor. Uh, I don't know if I should say hopefully it's true. I don't honestly don't know if I want to see it, but
Oh boy. Okay.
they said Omos is gonna have a match against, if he's healthy, Bobby Lashley.
Ooh. That would be a good match. I don't know if Lashley's healthy or not. Yeah, I would love to see that. Would love to see Lashley versus Omos.
I mean, Omos is still. I know they're building him up as the
Yeah, but he's
next
so green.
monster and all, but yeah, still very green. And
Yeah, I
that's
worry about him getting in there with somebody like a Lashley, especially if Lashley's just coming off an injury. He's not 100%. I worry about him getting re-injured by Omos. Yeah, I guess we'll find out on Monday or sometime next weekend.
yeah. I don't want them to. I don't want them to squash Lashley just to make Omos look strong.
No, I don't either.
Hella stupid.
Like it's I'm getting actually really tired of the whole making Omos look indestructible and making it look like these guys who are supposed to be top tier performers are basically running in fear of Omos. Like I did not like that.
But they could have did something good with the whole Omos versus Commander Aziz, and
Right.
instead of just
Squash
Omos.
disease. Yeah. Like what
Uh,
kind of momentum does he have now? He's got nothing. And he's supposed to be like I thought Aziz and Omos, like, man, like two big giants coming together. Basically, you just said, no, Aziz, you're not that big a deal. Omos is the big deal.
and they made it worse last Monday by making it a handicap match with
Apollo Cruz.
Apollo Crews, and as he have them both lose, there goes any momentum they had, which they didn't
Oh
have.
yeah, those two are buried now. You might as well chase after the 24/7 title.
Well, Apollo, it was a nice run while it lasted. Nice little resurgence, and that's gone.
And before this, I would have loved the idea of like Commander Aziz supporting Apollo Cruz. Like Apollo Cruz could win the 24/7 title. And then basically he's not running. It's just they're all coming after him. You know, Tozawa, our Truth, anybody else, and it's like, and they're just getting clobbered by Aziz, and so it's like they can't even get to Apollo Cruz.
Oh god. Hope they don't put the 24/7 title on the card.
Yeah,
Unless
I'm
pre-show.
over it. Let it die.
I mean, if it's pre-show, then whatever, fine.
Sure.
That's where it belongs, if even.
Yeah, it belongs on like the pre-show of Raw, and you get the highlights during Raw. All right. We will be back here next week, everybody. We'll be talking about the card, WrestleMania. And of course, we're going to watch our assignments, the Scott Hall matches, Razor Ramon. You've got Razor and Diesel from SummerSlam 94. I've got the original Razor Ramon versus the 1-2-3 kid, which I think he was called the Lightning Kid because he was going through different gimmicks like every week.
Same thing.
Yeah, but yeah, I've got that match to watch. And of course, yeah, we're each watching the WrestleMania 10 Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels match. We'll also maybe talk some of our favorites about WrestleMania in history next week as we get ready for the show of shows, the showcase of the immortals. T, anything to add before we get out of here?
Random, but WrestleMania 23, Edge and Mick Foley. Great fucking match.
It was actually WrestleMania 22.
I was close.
You were close, but good call on that one. That's one of my favorite matches too. All right, everybody, have a great night. Happy wrestling. See you next week.
See ya.